And thank you everybody for showing up to this November 14th Legal Shield and Field Notes. I sent out an email to everybody yesterday, so I wanted to talk about that first, and then really that's kind of what I had. So if you guys have things on your mind, definitely speak your piece, but let me just clarify what that email was. Where is my, it's not wrong. Is that it? There she is. And I sent it to myself a bunch of times just to make sure that it looked good. So, oh, that's a little extra. There, I guess. And let's share the screen for everybody.
Did you share it with me?
The email
Yeah.
should have went out to everybody.
Okay.
You didn't get, well, now that you say that, well, let me just check my sent items because I should have everybody there. Yeah, I got a bunch.
Didn't you get the first
okay.
one, Cassie?
Kathy Lucas got it. Let me see.
When did it go yesterday? I was on site all day and I didn't get completely caught up on my emails.
Today in the morning. Today's super early in the morning. Yep, okay. You're on the list. Biz Solutions, Biz Solutions CP.
Yep, that's it.
6:03 a.m. this morning, Cassie.
Yes, I did it last night at 3 in the morning, and then scheduled it for today at 6 a.m. because I didn't want to.
Which is why it felt like yesterday. Right. Okay, got it.
Right. Yeah, that's why it definitely felt like yesterday. But two things, right? We have this hiding feature of the dates. So I don't know if anybody knew this, but the ones that have been here the longest know that if you put in 1900 on a date, it would exclude the year when you smart tag it, right? So with that, let me pull up.
You put 99.96 on this.
Well, that was the new thing. So Kathy Lucas had came to me because there was an instance in which it didn't work. So what happened was the developers created, when they did the wizard, they imported a whole bunch of data fields and they grouped them under the group member category, which I'm about to show you in just a second. And when doing that, in my head, I would have thought they would have continued the logic, right? That if you put 1900, it would exclude the year from smart tagging it. And so they didn't. They left them as date fields. So you really, like, that logic didn't translate to those new fields. It only translated to the first 8. So, and I listed them out here and we will go over them. I just have to find, everything is in my way today. And this is Bob. And then I didn't know how I did, if the email was clear enough, but let's assume it was. All right. So the things that I'm talking about have to do with, let's just look up Jeremy as the contact. All right. So this is me just basically testing this out. So let's zoom this up a little bit more, I think. So now you can see the year, right? 1982. That is because I actually put the 1980. However, if I were to find the field and put 9996 and save, you'll see that it no longer shows that, right? So when you use these fields all the way up until wedding anniversary, right? You might have these ones named something else, but it's the first 8, right? So birthday, these ones under the detail, and in family information, there's spouse's birthday originally. So if it's been changed, it's been changed, but these two are the only ones with that logic. And they move the logic from 1900 to 9996. Why 9996? I don't know. I thought 1900 was pretty much clear because I didn't think we were going to ever find anybody with 123-year-old, individual member, that kind of thing. So I thought it was pretty safe to use the 1900. However, I guess technically, it was an issue, and so they now confirmed it is 9996. So if you go down to the bottom and you see all of these other dates that are under the group member side, you'll see that these ones have the year 996. However, they're visible because regardless, it will show. So just for you guys to know, these ones up here, if you put in 9996, will not show the year. If you put in a year here, it will show the year. If you smart tag this, and when we mean smart tag, we mean going to an email, and if you do an @ symbol, it'll give you the options, and then you can find those dates, your cancel date, and so on and so forth. So this is smart tagging. People use this in their beginning emails, right? Telling people this is your Legal Shield number. So that's what smart tagging is for. But they would use the legal number and the I don't think the group number, but legal and identity shield or any of the other little products that you have. Go ahead, Bill.
One question I would have is, since it does put 9996 in last production date, if in the future was going to be using this to say, because when you have a lot of groups, hundreds of groups, if I was going to use that as a search piece and say, 2024 as a search to see if if there's any production that year, and I was going to compare that to other files, I wouldn't be able to do that because it's listed as, they're always going to be listed as 9996, right?
Which one are like these ones?
Well, like down here where it says under group member, last production date. Now, this is just looking at the member or the group itself.
So all of these fields are available, whether if it's a contact for a member or whether if it's a contact for a group, right? So most likely
it won't really matter because you're not sending an email to. You're sending it to the member in the email. The company can't read an email, the employee does. So
you would have a company name, and then it would have like the salutation would be the point person, and then that email would be that person. So that's how you could email the company, but it would obviously be addressed to the point person, right?
And the more I talked on it, the more I answered my own ignorance. So sorry.
It's not about that, but yeah. So this is just a demonstration, right? Just so that when you do put the year, it's just going to be visible, right? And if you smart tag it, it'll be visible. But if you need to search, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to search and find the date.
So Bill, the way you can think about this is the only time you would ever use the 9996 now is when you want to have a date field that you don't want the year. Like typically that's going to be like a birthday. Like, people don't want to be reminded that they're,
I want to remind them, hey, you're 80 years old. Get your will done. I'm just kidding.
You only got 15 left to get your stuff in order.
You better keep it up.
Time is ticking, right?
And then an invitation to a local church. It's like, you got a package deal. You know what I mean? We got you covered. We'll save your soul and get you a plan. And it only is good for the first 8, which are the ones that birthday, these 5, and then these. So
okay,
that's just the new thing. And then when they went to the 9996, I just had hoped that everybody would, I guess, understand me. But yeah, it was, I don't know why we just couldn't have kept it to 1900. But at the end of the day, so if you did have anything in the system that said 1900, I think those were also changed to 9996. So they did something within the system to kind of revert everything that was 1900. So FYI, if you need to, take a look, I would possibly take a look if anybody was using that. But so any questions about this? It took me a while to explain it to Kathy. So if anybody does have any questions, it's probably understand.
Yeah, thank the programmers for not making it 9666. Just kidding.
I don't know. I said the same, but at the end of the day,
that's fine.
I ain't thinking about the devil on that one. And then I was definitely happy. I'll most likely play these numbers in the lottery. But so the next thing is when linking contacts, we got some new categories, and I can't guarantee that I can get these done immediately if anybody has any future requests later on. However, if there is any future requests, just let them be known to me. I'll communicate it to them, and they will do their best to get it done, right? So with that said, it's it shouldn't take too much time, but we got 2 new categories. So if people did not know, you can search your contacts and you can link them to accounts. So let's say you have a group account, but yet you have all of these other important people that you would like to have grouped with that so that you could, find them quickly or at least have them in mind and then not have to say to yourself, oh, who was that person? So it looks like we give you 10 to link to one contact. And these are the options that we're talking about. So thank you. What was it, Cassie? You were the one with the corporate support. And third party administrator is Mr. Butkovich.
Actually, I'm
So
going to use that one today because one of my brokers is the broker for it, but there's an account rep within the brokerage. It just said, we do all their billing, so make me the plan administrator and all this. So now I can put him as the TPA that's going to deal with everything
there you go.
on that account.
Now, what I do like about this is that if you link somebody to, let's say, whomever, if you go to that person's account, you are also linked. It also shows you linked to him. So it goes both ways. If you haven't used this feature, I could see how it could help you just stay organized and have all the key people that you need to have at your fingertips. However, you do have to find it here, contact links. I don't know if it's because it's zoomed in so much. So right here, and then you click, and then it obviously gives you this little plus sign in which you can then open it, search your contact, and begin to link them. And 10, 10, 10 max contacts is what you can. So I just wanted to take a moment, and we've got some new people here. We've got a Bonita Jenkins, and we have, I thought I saw somebody else come in, a Gary. Oh, but that could have been Bonita. Okay. Well, thank you for coming. I think, Bonita, we have a meeting later on, so that's even great. We'll be there with bells on. Go ahead, Bill.
Sorry to keep asking questions sometimes, and if it's my own ignorance, I apologize to
No,
everybody.
no.
I will be digging into this extremely deeply during the Christmas period because I'll be pretty much done with fourth quarter then.
Nice.
But in the links and other things, is it available or can it be made available to do wild card searches? Like if I want to do asterisk at abc.com. So I could pull up every person that has an email address, abc.com, which most of the time is only going to be the corporate people I have in there because most of the members use their own personal email address. But it would help me to go through and identify them quicker. I just didn't know if you could do a wildcard search.
Gmail. Let's just try that. Please include an @ symbol. I love you too. And then it's going to say, please include a .com. Yeah, it looks like this.
Put an asterisk before the at, which usually symbolizes wildcard.
Let's see what the dog brings up. Nope.
Okay.
Now, you could search here, right? And let's say you create
there.
well, what you can do here is you can add a bunch of fields, right? So you can add the email, the alternate, like if all these ones that have email in it, the third email, auxiliary email, that email. I think the spouse has an email as well.
There's an AU2 email.
Right. Whether if you have information that deep, then, where is it there? Then you can check all the ones that
for me to set it up because I've got over 5,000 members, and a lot of times I deal with municipalities. I'll have half a dozen people in there that are using their corporate email because I have 2 or 3 people in HR, a payroll, city manager, so I'll have various people in there.
But
And
yeah,
it-
you can
I-
search by, like, if you have like their, let's say the it doesn't have to be with the @ symbol, it can be just like Gmail. It'll pull up everybody that has a Gmail, right?
Okay, I could do it
And
that
then,
way.
and then there's also searches within the messages. So what people have mentioned to me is, well, this is through real estate, is that she remembered a key phrase that she used in a message that she sent to like a group of 10 people, but she forgot. She didn't use a circle for them. I think she just highlighted the people, wrote the email and sent it out, but she did remember like a key phrase. And so with this, if you do check that and then search that key phrase up here, it will obviously take a little bit longer because it has to comb through all the messages, but it did pull out the emails that she sent with the key phrase. And then she was able to find, because it was a buyer that had expressed some type of interest, but it just got past her, and that person was like, hey, contact me in a couple of months. So she just wanted to make sure that she had that guy on her follow-up and that she wasn't going to slip through the crack. So she asked me about that, and I had to let her know, hey, we have this feature, and with the meeting notes. So if you leave meeting notes, so this is also a good thing that now that you guys know this, right? For you guys to, if you need to use key phrases so that, you know what I mean, if you wanted to go back into your meeting notes, like a specific event, right? If you were paying attention to, oh, I could search this later, then you could use key phrases. And if you remember, you know, a key part of an email, you can search through it through the messages. So
That could be good because one for us could be like every time you do a DM meeting, do your notes as DM meeting, then hit enter and put in meeting went well, da 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 da. So if you wanted to find out the last 20 DM meetings I did or whatever, you could use a DM meeting as a key phrase and pull all those up and then find the one you're looking for.
yep.
That
And you can go to town with all those different like little key phrases that you might think of, you know what I mean? And
Could that, Jeremy, could that be used in the subject line of an email?
so message, well, I think let me see. I guess check the search to get the text. Oh, message show the I'm pretty sure it'll search the message and subject. I think that's a good question. I'll have to ask the developers that one. But this was inside the message where she had the key phrase and it found it perfectly. So that would just be more of a fine-tuned question with them. But it's a feature that I think people overlook and didn't know that they have it. And until they come to me with like their, oh, Jeremy, do you think we can do this? Like only if I could do that, I'm like, oh, but we can. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how she was kind of stressed on how she could find those people. We were looking at the timeline from the last time that she remembered that she'd emailed. And so it was kind of like we were spinning our wheels a little bit. But I said, oh, it was within a message, then it was a little bit easier to like find it. And she searched it and she found it, and she was more happy than I was. I was obviously happy that I was able to support her, but you know, she found what she needed. She set up the follow-up, and you know, in real estate, you don't want to drop deals or forget people, right? So she was on top of it. But yeah. And so I'm trying to think if I had anything else. Oh, there is something that's coming down the line. I just saw the UI for it. Maybe I can show you guys what that UI is going to look like, but it is a new feature that I think might help you guys. Where is...
Before you move to that, Jeremy, can you
Yeah.
show me again, because I couldn't see the screen before.
Sure.
How do you search for the key phrases?
The key phrases is dropping this little menu down.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you can only have one of these options, right? So if you're just signing in, most likely it'll be this as a search, but you can check search inside messages, and then you can hit show results, and then you can then search whatever that key phrase is here, and then it will bring you the contact. So then you have to open up the contact and get in there and kind of see, but most likely you're going to find what you're looking for.
Got it.
That's kind of how it was for her. It brought all the people that she had sent that email to, and she was like, "Oh, great, found them." And then I think she gave the guy a sphere real quick, and then she set up some follow up, and it was not an issue for her. But it will take time. So if you've got a really, really big database, and I'm not saying it's going to take 10, 15 minutes to do it, but like a 2 minute, 3 minute, it's gonna heat up the computer a little bit. But yeah, so then you can just check this one, and then this will comb through just the meeting notes that you've saved.
Right.
So, and I guess that'd be good if you guys, I remember you guys talking about making like one meeting note with all the information in it. And then since you can go back and you can edit just that one meeting note. So if you standardize and had kind of like a template, and then you could search, you know, specific things within those meeting notes, and like what Bill said, you know, use that feature more often and find stuff. But it does take a little bit longer because it actually has to comb through your whole database. So that's the only thing that I would say is just anticipate a little bit longer search. It kind of spins a little bit longer than usual. But yeah. And then let me see. So what was I going to show you guys? Oh, this new thing. Let me see. Not this one. Not that one. Feedback. Where did you re-release? Nope. Here it is. Okay, so what the thought is this. For a couple of people, you've got so many different views that you guys end up accumulating, right? That if you don't do what I remember I suggested before, to create like little codes, if it was prospecting, put prospecting in front of it when you're doing the name. Let me see. We have somebody in a hardware store. One second. Is that you, Cassie? Yeah, I think it was. So, yeah, so what this one is, a lot of people have just a plethora of views, right? And it just groups them all alphabetically, right? So you've got your numbers on top, your special characters on top, then you've got ABC. It just goes right down in order. You could have a bunch of these views and you kind of have to scroll, you have to kind of scroll all the way down to get to one. And if it's at the bottom, you know what I mean? I guess that's, I would say, a little bit more difficult to kind of get to what you want. So now you can create a folder. So let's say you call it the prospecting folder. You can create all your views related to prospecting under that one folder. So then you can go to prospecting and then you'll have your whole list of, let's say, different variants, right? If it's you're prospecting different type of product. So your small business, you could have all of that relatively outlined and organized here instead of having all of your prospects with all of your active group members and this and that. You could have one folder for just your active groups. But now, like for Bill's got hundreds of active groups, right? So if he had views for all of these, they would all be just mixed in with the whole list. So it would make it to where he would have a sea of different views and most likely take him a couple scrolls of the wheel just to get to what he's possibly finding, if not more. So with this allows you to create a folder, name the folder something. So if you want to do prospecting, group accounts, members, we can then start to have different views under those different folders. So it should help you with organizing. And then when you can keep all of these different views and keep them organized, if you guys are, let's say your Mondays is more of like a prospecting, you need to figure out what's going on with, any of your active stuff. Well, then you can go to your prospect folder, have all your views. And if you're like an organized person like myself, I would like have, my number one thing that I need to look at and just kind of have them in order so that I can just go down the list, know that I reviewed everything, did everything that I needed to do, and then I can go to my next folder, which is my follow-ups or whatever it may be, because you can use all kinds of different filters, right? You can have all kinds of special views so that you have your columns all set up. So hopefully it saves you time, because if you set up all these views with all your correct columns, you know what I mean? You don't have to basically do that every time. You basically plan it out and have some good organization, get to it quickly. So this is something that I requested. I don't think anybody really kind of told me to do it, but I felt the need because I already see a people with a bunch of views and using them for different things. And if it was me, I would like to have some organization with it, because some people have their HOA responsibilities tucked into this because they have to email a bunch of people and they have to communicate a bunch of stuff with people. So that would be good that they have their HOA folder. So if you categorize your contacts correctly, they shouldn't mingle with your Legal Shield or your other businesses, right? It should all stay in its place. And so that's something, I don't know if anybody has any opinion about that or what they feel, if it might be useful or not, but
I like it.
Thank you. I thought it would be well received. I think the real estate agents as well can use it, you know what I mean? Because they also have reasons for having multiple different views. And then I've seen a bunch of people across the board using our system that just have plenty of views. And then they're like, oh, I need to go to my view. And then they try to find it. And I can just see a little bit of struggling. And so hopefully this allows us to just be more organized with the database and things like that. And so something that should be coming soon. Go ahead, Alice.
So if you organize them according to, say, prospect or any of those other categories, can you move them to the next level? Say they've gone from maybe prospect to member, or do you have to enter them in?
So this is the great thing about the views, right? And the way that as you disposition things, if a view is set up with only prospecting categories, such as the sales flow or the sales cycle status, right? If they had just prospecting, then those views are strictly looking for people with prospecting as a category,
Mhm.
maybe with an additional sphere that is strictly for prospecting. So let's say that person is no longer a prospect and you're moving them through your cycle. Now, let's say you found the DM. So let's say you have a DM folder where these are decision makers, right? So you just want to follow up with them and see where you are in the path of getting them to say a yes, right? So they would then no longer appear in the prospecting and they would show up in the DM, I guess, view, because the disposition has changed, right?
Okay, so you have to go
The
back in
contact.
and select the DM now, once you've moved them from prospect to DM, and they end up in that folder in a view.
They're gonna move over. So if you have all your views kind of set up, right? And as
Mm-hmm.
you start to disposition people, so you're working on the prospect, you end up, speaking to whomever secretary who decides to say, hey, yeah, that person's available, talk to her. So now you've got that person on the phone. Let's say it's a beautiful conversation. Now you got the decision maker. So let's say if you change, like, and if this was me, I would have like the contact open. Like um, when working for call centers, right? They force us to use CRMs. And then in the CRM, we can do everything. So for me, I'm always accustomed. If I'm calling somebody, I have you open. And then that way, if I needed to make a change, like let's say you say, you know what, Jeremy, I think Steve Remmel told me one time, he's like, man, you got the wrong phone number. Call this one. And I don't know which phone number I was calling, but it wasn't the right one. But it was, to him, it was just, I guess maybe it was his phone number, but he wanted me to talk to his wife. So it was like, switch it up. And then I think the same thing with his email. So I was just, oh yeah, I can do that right now. And I just would do it quickly because I'm in his account, edit it, walk away, save. So for me, that's my custom. I leave it all in the system. I don't have any pad of paper where I write stuff down because yes, is it a good thing to do? But as long as the power's on and I can hit save, one just gets kind of accustomed to that. So if I was working a lead or something like that, I would be most likely, I'd hit categories and have the sales cycle status and whatever they might be. If any of these things changed, I would move them over. And then if I had my filters set up with all my views and all that kind of stuff, I would see them move through buckets, right? So Chip has, because he does sales, right, with his, so he's got his views already lined up, and he knows by doing mass edit to leads that he enters, once he mass edits them, they move from one bucket and they shift over to the next one. Then he's got a clear view essentially, and then he will assign one of his spheres to that, and then it'll push everybody into that view. He can hit the view. He can download the list. He takes that, throws it into a dialer, and then now he's got 100 people in his dialer so that he can call, and he doesn't have to like physically click one by one. He can just do this all with mass editing. So that helps him, right? So I'm assuming having all of these different views and in folders and things like that, he could have more, just different buckets and things like that. And so, but yeah, I think it's going to be a good thing. There's also talks in doing the same thing with the spheres. I've asked them to, because if we see here, I've been having to tell people, so LS dash and then put whatever, right? And then LS. And now the reason for doing this is because anything that is LS related will just kind of sit in like a little area, right? But to get away from doing those, can't we have where, let's say if it's just prospecting spheres that we only use for prospecting, well, then I think it might help you guys not create redundancy, right? So what I've seen sometimes is people will create stuff here in the plans offer chosen, and then I'll go down and I'll see that same category here, either spelled different or just a variation. And then in the referral source, I'll see something that's tracking the same kind of thing. It's just labeled here. And then they'll come to me and say, well, why doesn't my reports show everybody? I'm missing people. And it's because you've got 3 different things trying to track one thing, and not everybody is on the same page. So if we can organize the spheres, it should, there's one lady that like you can scroll with your mouse wheel maybe 10 times. That's how many spheres she's just collected over the years. So it's like, I don't know, to me that's like I would rather have a different system instead of just going and going and going. Oh, okay, then I found it. And she doesn't group things with any type of lettering or using asterisks to kind of float things to the top, or numbers. So special characters, numbers, and then the letters, right? But so yeah, so that's something else they got to figure out how to do that and make it look good. But that's also another thing, because I think that'll help you guys just stay organized, right? So like if you have prospecting duties, you can go to the process, and then you can say, oh, these are the prospecting spheres that I use, right? Instead of having to think about it or maybe have it listed. Remember, we talked about having like a legend where if you have a member, this is how I have to categorize a member for him to show up in my views, right? So because for me, it's kind of like I don't really have to memorize it. I just go to my categories and just make it happen. But for you guys, that might still be new. It might be good. But with this, I hope that might key you to, oh, this is a group member. So here are all my group related spheres that I use to categorize. And so hopefully that helps as well. But they haven't showed me any kind of views to what it might look like in the future. So something that's coming down the line. But yeah, I don't know if anybody else has anything. I know we're getting to the end of the year, so things are slowing down. If you guys, like Bill said, going to be doing some work, over the week, over the Christmas holiday, if it's going to be slow for you, that's usually like a slow month for us as well, right? Everybody kind of packs up and leaves, and not from the company, but customer wise. So I most likely will see myself with a lot of downtime. If you guys want some specific help with your system to polish it and get it ready, I mean, that's what I'm here for. So definitely book some time with me, and let's use this quiet time, the bells ringing and the nog and all that good stuff, and have a little moment. Yeah, Bill?
Oh, you're not going to have downtime. I'm going to be scheduling a ton of time with you. But
Well, I mean, that's good. Keep me busy. I like a lot of people don't know I get high off of this stuff. You know what I mean? So for me to come up with stuff and
can I share my screen real quick? There was something I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, that's the
I know I'm going to show the
mi casa tu casa.
I know, but I'm going to show the nobody pay attention to who this company is.
I'll have the guys blur some stuff out.
Can I block that out? So there you can't really see it that good. Good. See when I pull up like an account here, City of Hawthorne. One of the things that's right up there is everybody linked to it by either name, franchise number, or whatever, comes right up in contacts. So instead of me having to go do a separate search for it, like because I've got to try and update 4,000 members and over 300 something accounts will take me a long, long time. Is there anything in the future to have an automatic link of all contacts associated with that account?
Like what we could do, yeah, what we could do, and what I have done, but he had like 50, 60 different accounts, was I created views for City of Hawthorne, and then the filter was the group number. And then so anything with that group number, you'd have a view. So instead of going to searching for City of Hawthorne, you would just go to your folders and possibly pick up the view for City of Hawthorne.
Or just pick up the view for that franchise number.
Correct. Or what you do, if you know your franchise number.
Yeah, sometimes I'm making a note in the city, okay, did this. Oh yeah, I need to contact, then I need to go out and do another search. Whereas this way, I would just go click on that tab, scroll down to their name, click on it, and then send them an email. And it was just a time saver by having that a automatic attached item there. And I didn't know if that was possible or not with what you guys have or not.
Well, yeah, through views we could do it, or so I don't like I like view like I would use views, and I use views when in our own Field Notes CRM for you guys, right? For like our customers. So I have my own views to pull up people that I have a real estate webinar, so I've got everybody that's real estate related in a view. So for me to post a new webinar that's dropped, I just circle everybody, create the email, walk away. It took me 5-10 minutes to do that whole thing. So I heavily use for my work, but when I'm supporting you guys, I really don't, you know what I'm saying? You'll see me go to the filters, because with the filters, as long as you know the group number, you can just filter, pull up the group number, you know what I mean? And here, I'll share my screen.
Yeah, and that's what I do. But I'll be honest with you, City of Hawthorne, what's the group number? I don't know. So I search City of Hawthorne, pull them up, get the group number, go back into filter. Now reset. So I delete the previous search. Now put in
I guess
the
when
group
you get to
number,
so
now
many, you know what I mean? When you get to so many, and it's like, yeah, you've got a bucket of nails, find the right one.
right. And that's why I was just trying to think if it was automatically in there, it just saves those extra clicks.
Yeah, I mean, I
Or
guess that would be good, something good to discuss with the developers. Right now, they're working on some different verticals, so I'm glad that they at least invite me to the meetings, and I'm really able to get squeeze a couple of things through. But once they do get freed up with what they're doing, I'll definitely be able to bother them a lot more, and possibly, get some of these wish list things. But I do feel you'll feel your pain. But it's just something to bring up to them to see how easy it is to develop something like that. But
it might be easier, Jeremy, is let's say I pull up City of Hawthorne and I have that up because I've done a search for it.
Mhm.
Maybe have something next to the franchise number in that box that I could click on that would pull up everybody related to that franchise number,
Well, if you put
which would actually save another search.
the company name under company, and you do City of Hawthorne, it's going to search City of Hawthorne and everybody. All you have to do is just make sure that you have company checked.
On all 5,000 or whatever. But I mean, I gotta make sure I have that company name on every single one of them.
Right, but that could be, either when you're uploading the data, you map it, or you just, pull that one group number when you upload it, and then add that as a whatchamacallit,
Yeah, definitely
like a
plan
mass edit.
ahead, but as you know, we've already uploaded over 5,000, so
No,
I
no.
was just trying to make things easier on that. And I didn't know if it was a usable or a useful feature for people in the future to
Well,
just kind of one click thing.
what I can say is this, because you have this not different scenario, but I could see Cassie going through this. Anybody with more than 100 companies, you're going to have different problems, right? The CRM is going to work for you, but then you're going to get into, now I've got other different problems because I have to manipulate all of this data. But maybe when we get some bandwidth with these developers, I sit close with you, feel your pain, and if I can translate it and get it and communicate it to them, and they can develop something that helps us, I think not only is it going to help you immediately, but it's going to help everybody else when they, and I hope they do, get to your level, right? And they get a bunch. So I definitely think it might be something good we continue with, and anything that I can, I guess, hear and see and try to change. I think it'll definitely be good for everybody, because we want everybody to have as many contacts as possible, and that's the challenge when getting to such a high level with so many accounts, and you've got a whole bunch more with the prospecting, so it's like you've got big buckets to deal with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
would
and
love to see what pain
I'm
you
gonna
go
try
through.
and help you because my son's gonna be sitting with me Monday, and he's a coder. And
There
I
you go.
said I need programs built to link everything together and make my life easier. So he's gonna sit with me and see if he can code out a program or two to do that. And if he does and something's gonna work, I'll shoot you the info, and maybe you can kick it around to Cassie and others to see if it's something that would benefit them to link into field notes.
Hey, you've got that capability. I know Cassie's like that. She's about developing her own tools for her own benefit, which has gotten me to think about stuff as well. So yeah,
But
I think
Cassie's just way sharper than me.
she's she's got that drive that that us men even have a problem to tap into. So she's definitely something special. But yeah, no, I mean I think that'll be good because not only have we been bringing on a lot of people with a lot of accounts, right? I think it's going to be a future problem for many, and so I would love to see what we can do to obviously push this forward and the good thing about us is that I work real close with that team and the way that they have things we can always add new features. It's just a matter of how deep can we go. So I definitely thank you for that. Let me see what my schedule looks like. I don't want to. Yep. So I don't know if anybody has any questions, anything that you guys would like for me to look at, but please, if you guys have any suggestions for, hey Jeremy, you spoke about this one time. Can you do like a deeper dive? I have no problem. Just, point me in the right direction. And but yeah. So
Could you put in chat again the link to the help videos that you've already created?
like there's Vimeo, which are all of these sessions, right? And then there is these training videos, which are in general, and I think they're done with like a real estate account, and but it goes over the same system. So you most likely, if it's about adding a contact manually, creating your email signature, this is upload
It's on
contacts in
YouTube
bulk.
and then just YouTube field notes in the search.
I'll give you the link.
Perfect.
And
Appreciate it.
so these are just more technical stuff, right? But then there's the Vimeo link that we have all of our to everybody.
Put it in chat. I'll just copy it.
Yep. And then the Vimeo link and then this one is where you can find all of these sessions for your review. There was a moment in which these were, let me see. Yeah. I know this is, yeah. So the new, well, not the new guy, but the video, what is it? The video editor guy. He misunderstood. So he started creating these into like 10-minute videos, which we do way longer format. So I think he's changed them back. He had to re-edit them and change them. So he went back to the old format where it just has everything. I think this is maybe the last one that he needs to update because I don't think I've ever done 38 minutes in my life. So
that's awesome. That way I can ask more intelligent questions when I review them first.
yeah, I mean, if you, yeah, or if you're like doing something, you want something in the background, I cover so many things. It's difficult to say, but you'll learn something. There's like a session like months ago where we just kind of set up the basics. I've still haven't gone through all of this and kind of like created maybe like playlists of things that might. So that's something that I have. Maybe during Christmas I'll spend some downtime and do that. But yeah. So if there's no more questions, I definitely thank everybody for showing up.